morning, afternoon, or evening. And, well, before that, did you miss me? Well, it's been just over a year to the day since my last non-stream based video, and I'm easing myself back in. And in doing so, I'm going to provide you with a pretty interesting match that I played on my quest to relearn the game. You'll not be surprised to learn that playing about half a dozen games in 12 months has somewhat affected my chance to learn how Alpha 25 works. So before I commit to making some tips videos, I really need to play some games. And that's what I've been doing. And this one, I have to say, is a humdinger. It's a Seleucid Civil War. It's me using a new login as I wanted to start again from scratch versus the philosopher. So Wickham is no more, but Tom 0AD is back. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to say, welcome to a 0AD Alpha 25 commentary replay analysis. Hello, we're in the game and welcome. So, as I've established, we're both playing as Seleucids. We're going to follow a similar kind of starting point, but we will focus a little bit on what the differences are between us regarding our openings. So, he went for 3 women, as did I, but whereas I'm going to set my 3 women when they come out to collect wood, he's going to send his 3 to build a storehouse. What I've done is allow these 4 women to start collecting berries, and then I've used that additional food that's been collected to mean that I can get a 4th woman citizen rather than just groups of 3, although he has set himself up to producing groups of 3, so I think he's just going to generally do that. What I've also done, which is slightly different, is set this, which is to make sure that my my house is going. So he's just building his first house now, whereas I started this with 1 person. So he's building it with 3. I started with just the 1, which means that I'm just finishing now, whereas he'll finish in a little bit. What that does mean is that I've been able to collect more wood and more food than he has, which is pretty good. One thing that has also impacted that though is he took one of his skirmishers and ran around the map, so he's got a bit of a better view of what is happening at the moment. The other thing I do find a bit surprising is that he's got 3 groups of berries, whereas I just got the 1. So I got this group of berries, but I did also get this apple tree. I've got some other berries over here, but they're outside my range, whereas he had 3 inside his base, and that means that it's unusual. So I'm just going to get the berry upgrade right now. I've just finished getting it, sorry, rather than just about to get it. He hasn't even started getting that berry upgrade, or he's just starting now. So him getting the berry upgrade now, while I've already got it, means that I've been collecting more and more resources than he has. So as we hit the 2-minute mark, I will fade out the window in window, but we'll also have a quick look at the stats, and they show that I've collected by the 2-minute mark almost 100 more food and over 50 more wood, and that means that I'm in a slightly stronger position than he is. I've managed to, because I've got that extra wood collected and extra food, I can produce more soldiers, get better upgrades and things like that. So that's been my approach thus far. This guy actually finished doing stuff a few seconds ago. He should already be going around. About 2 minutes if you've got the, if you just use your cavalrymen to collect the chickens on their own. After about 2 minutes, that's going to be the point that you want to start running them around the map to give yourself a better view of what is going on. And as we are talking about what's going on around the map, why don't we have a look at that? So if we look, initially we'll start over here where my cavalryman's going. We've just seen there's a big group of stone there, a couple of things of metal, some more metal here, then this collection of berries in the center, then a big thing of metal, then some more things of metal. So we're certainly not short of metal, so that's very promising for both of us, because Seleucids are quite a metal intensive faction. Got another thing of metal here, some more stone, and as we move out over to here, we start to see another area, and this is an absolutely ideal spot, I think, if for a military colony. Somewhere around here, look at that, covers that metal, that stone, that metal, and these 2 additional things of metal, and I mean these 3 stones are already kind of been captured. God, he's got another set of berries and apple trees just outside of things. So, I mean, as we look at this, he's, almost 4 minutes in, hasn't had to even think about producing fields, whereas I'm already 4 fields in. And that's, as you see, they've just literally finished picking the berries, and that was because I wanted to make sure I had fields while those berries were going. So at the moment, we will be producing some food. There's not going to be a delay, and it's very important that you get that transition from um, picking fruit to getting your farming going if you want to maintain a good food supply. At the moment, going for my first barracks, and he's going for his first barracks as well. So both of us have had similar ideas. I think it's quite a good way to go. So the barracks here, its main role is to produce soldiers, obviously, but it's going to produce soldiers for this wood line. And I really like this location. It serves two purposes. So one of them is that the soldiers near here will be able to protect these women that would otherwise be totally exposed to any kind of raid, who are collecting berries. They're a long way from any houses, from the civic centre, and therefore it's helpful to have these soldiers nearby. And there'll be also, they've got a very short distance that they need to walk once they've spawned. So if you imagine, these guys are showing what will happen once they spawn, they're immediately basically in amongst the woods, which is really, really helpful. Whereas the if the barracks was, say, over here, where yes, it would be better protected by the civic centre, those soldiers are going to walk a long way before they actually get to where they need to be. And the same thing's true here. This is the reason for this location. One is, again, it's almost like we had exactly the same thought process. So one, that you want to get your have a short distance for your soldiers to get to start chopping the wood, but also producing those soldiers near near your kind of women that are on the outskirts, because otherwise they're quite defenseless. So let's say that I was aware that he was having some kind of cavalry rush. I can start producing spearmen from here, and they will be there much more quickly than they would be even if we had that. So I mean, the fact is, having a wood line or making your soldiers be in a wood line near where your outermost farmers are is always a good idea. So I'm just getting now the farming upgrade. I don't believe he has that yet. No, he doesn't. So we're in the same position. We both went for early. I mean, these are the first two upgrades I would always recommend. If you've got no additional berries, then sometimes you might want to skip the berry thing. I do, but it's, it's each their own. I know there are other people that just say, no, the berry upgrade is absolutely essential. You've got to get it. So, horses for courses, I could be completely wrong on that. And maybe that's one of the reasons that I'm stuck between 1300 and 1400, and other people fly off to get ELO ratings up in like the 2000s. So yeah, I'm interested to actually know other people's feedback on that. Should I always be getting the berry upgrade or not? So, I mean, what I do know for sure is that if you've got 3 groups of berries like this fella had, you've got to. It would just be insane not to. Okay, he's now been a bit smarter than me in that he has started to get himself some metal. I actually go for the stone before the metal because I want to be able to build more barracks, and they cost 200 wood and 100 stone. But also these two upgrades here, the metal collecting and the stone collecting, require stone, not metal. So what I would do is use the extra stone to build a second barracks and to make sure that I can get both those upgrades. You don't have enough otherwise, at the very beginning to do so. And that's, it's a bit sad, but sometimes you have to work with what you got. Politics is the art of what's possible, or something like that. That's some kind of phrase. And this is very similar. I'm going to try and apply that same kind of idiom to, or actually it's not really an idiom, is it? Some kind of phrase, cliche, whatever, to 0 AD. 0 AD is the art of deciding which upgrades you get first. There you go. It's not as catchy, but you can, and it's also not as kind of transferable. It's very much only for 0 AD. You could try and make it a bit more transferable by making it in a kind of a X is the art of strategy games, but I'm not going to waste my time doing that. So now that you've listened to me ramble kind of aimlessly for a little while, let's see what's going on. So he's well ahead in infantry, whereas I'm well ahead in female citizens, and because of that, I'm slightly ahead in population. But at this stage, the most interesting thing is going to be how do we get ourselves to phase 2? He's going to get there to phase 2 and should be able to do a relatively quick phase 2 because he's going to steam through having already got metal and stone. And I need to have a look. So I've now got people, as I said, on the stone. That means that I can get this. I should be able to get that now, and it's surprising I haven't gone for it immediately. I'm also using my houses to build a kind of wall, particularly around here. I think that's quite helpful because later on in the game, if you can get into your opponent's base, people get so reliant on their food economy to keep them going because you end up running short of other things, trading and having to trade to get potentially metal and even at some points wood. Depending on how long the game goes, it can get to a point where you do it. It's helpful if you just make it as difficult as possible for your opponent's cavalry to get in and cause you hassle. So we're looking pretty low. Yeah, very, very similar. I mean, to be at the kind of 10-minute mark, I've just reached phase 2. I thought that he would probably be going into phase 2 ahead of me. He hasn't. He's had plenty of opportunities to do so, and he's already started moving quite well in here. Shame he hasn't got that. With that extra stone, he could have... Oh, he's just gone for it. Look at that. It's almost like I planned it. Oh, no, it's not. He hasn't got it. Sorry, take that back. He didn't just get that at all. It's just that he ran out of enough food because he started going to phase 2. So I'm slightly ahead. I've moved this person around. What are these? My cavalry. Oh, will he be able to kill? He has. Look at him. I said that these guys... oh, actually, I can't remember if I did see. I noticed them. I can't remember if I said that they were... go on. Oof, is she going to get her? Yes, she's dead. So I've, look at that, started doing some killing. Even if this guy now dies, he has done a brilliant job. He's disrupted a bit of the wood cutting. He's chasing that, but is he going to get her? He missed her. He's going to get absolutely massacred by this lot, but not before you. So look at that. My kill death ratio is 4. Mine's is obviously 1/4. That's the. He's always going to have the inverse. So I should be able to go for quite a quick phase 3. I've built everything I need. I just need to get some metal, and I need to get that metal upgrade, which I have plenty of stone and food to get on. Looks like I'm just getting the metal upgrade. So yeah, that was the one I really needed. He's got plenty, so he could really, if he built his things more quickly. So he's got a market going up there. Excellent. And then he's gone for 3 I don't know what you call forges. What do I normally call them? Blacksmith, forge, much for muchness, isn't it? So I need to start getting these things. We haven't got any military upgrades at this point, but I normally like to have all of them before I go to phase 3. But with the fact that I am rapidly approaching a point where I could go to phase 3, and I've got, I'm just looking at the resources. So have I started producing anything going on here? No. Shaft mining on the metal, still waiting for that. That's now gone. We should see this start flying up now. Plenty of people on the metal. And I haven't got the thing. I'm really slack with this one, actually. It's something I've noticed in my gameplay. I should get that phase 2 wood cutting much more quickly than I do. I've just started it now. Weird that I'm noticing things obviously at the same time watching the replay as the same point that I did in the actual game. I've got the second farming upgrade, and you can see 11 farms. That's the kind of limit that I would normally look for. But what's interesting, neither of us have really scouted out and actually gone and built a military colony. And what I normally like to do is exactly that. So my normal strategy, and I will be doing another video quite shortly on the importance of strategy in that. So my strategy is normally get to phase 2 before 10 minutes. I mean, normally it's not much before, but nonetheless, I mean, I have had a few games recently where I've tried to really push it and go maybe on about 8 minutes, but basically get myself to phase 2 You can see here I mentioned earlier about where you might want to uh, go to. Obviously, um, yeah, I promise you I haven't watched this watched this game back like 100 times, so I know exactly what's going to happen. I obviously watched the first 2 minutes for both of us because I wanted to be able to talk about those. But beyond that, I haven't watched this again. So yeah, this was a really good location. I like that. Well done, me. Not sure if I just don't notice. I hadn't noticed that there's metal there. I can see it on the map, um, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen a military colony here. He's done a very similar thing, military colony. As soon as you've got that military colony there, you've claimed basically the thing. So he's got a military colony there, another one here. He's really trying to do it. I've got a very early phase 3. Am I aware that he's only phase 2? Yeah, I certainly am. So at this point, you would expect that I would be like, right, let's plow on, let's lay down like as many of these things as I can. I've got plenty of wood, plenty of food. I'm floating so much, it's outsane. Outsane? That's not a word. I was going to say outrageous, then I flipped to insane partway through. It happens. Let's have a quick look at where we are in military upgrades. Okay, I'm slightly ahead because I've got all of them, but I've not got the next ones, and I should. And I've started going for them now. So again, I've now missed the chance to get there before he did. Although, yeah, this is something again that I find uh, interesting. I don't know why am necessarily. I can't decide what I want to build first, basically, in these things. That I should have built much more out here, and while I was still on phase 2, and his phase 2 was like miles ahead, or at least. So yeah, actually, it wouldn't have been out there. Maybe that was the end of my thing. And what we've got here are the barracks that I was talking about. So we've got those 3. So I'm going to have 9 barracks. That is to make sure that I can reinforce at the rate that I would like. I've not really got an upper limit in barracks. I just go for as many barracks as I can, basically. And this is my siege workshop. So what's fascinating, is the idea of building them in this kind of thing is that this, by having there's minimum distances between like your towers and your fortresses. So what I would normally do is get a tower just behind, which once I've got the upgrade here to give the arrow shooters, that would cover this, and then I would build another tower here that would cover this, and I would have 20 people. It means it's virtually impossible to capture this thing. I say virtually because someone can just throw like 90 heavily armored soldiers towards it, then yeah, they're going to capture it. But on the whole, it's okay and it's doable. So if we look at where's military buildings here, so I've now got 7 completed, 8, and he's gone for 5. I don't believe he goes for any more than that. I think that's fine for him. So he's building his siege workshops from way behind the barracks. I like them at the front where I can just kind of get them going immediately. I mean, I've got a 50-person population advantage here. These guys are going to be quite near the front. I'm producing only from 2. I've got 9 barracks and I'm producing from 2 of them. That is insane. What the hell's going on? Why even have 9 barracks if you're only going to... I'm producing from one of the 9, and these guys are just sat here doing nothing as I run out of wood. Yeah, so those 32 soldiers would be better employed doing absolutely anything. They are. I've also done this. It takes till about 15 minutes. If you get to 15 minutes in the game, have a look and see if your people have cleared all of the if they finished all the stone and metal that you start with, because they probably will have done. 15 minutes is really the latest, and that means you can then set them off to go and do that. So you can see I've got the people that were collecting metal will carry on collecting metal, and these guys will go and collect the stone that was behind there. So how many were there? So yeah, there's 28 of those. We can get up to 48 people collecting stones, but I don't need lots of stone. Oh my god, stuff's been happening. I've sent my my rams in. Let's have a look in terms of upgrades. Military upgrades, where are you? we're in much the same position. Uh, let's have a look, see how the numbers fall. He's trying to save this. Is this going to go down? It should do. It's going to be close. Oh, it's survived just, and his soldiers have pushed my soldiers back. And we've got the other thing, whereas I was running all of these guys in, and I've only just started building a second thing. So we've got 3 swordsmen in there, another 5 in there, trying to get another group going. And he's now... No, he hasn't repaired that. That's interesting. He's got quite a few of them. And not just he got quite a few. They're holding... There's 94 involved, and they've got a lot of resources with them as well. So that's free resources if I can kill them. But, as I mentioned earlier about, oh, people, doesn't matter how much you've got defending stuff, if they send enough soldiers, they will be able to capture things. This is probably going to be a good example of that. In fact, I need to get... Oh, look at that. My swordsman that I sent to go into this tower got distracted. I've now produced a load of rams, which have conveniently just spawned in front of their elephant. Sometimes luck's just not on your side. Okay, he sent his elephant away, which is... So these guys should be massacred, really. Surely they should be dying. They are dying. But I mean, look at the... He's killed 143 of my troops, whereas I've killed 55 of his. It's an insane kill-death ratio, and my soldiers are just kind of running. This is a problem. I don't know if it's possible to set them up to do that run and attack thing once they spawn, but because I'm trying to send them into the fray to actually get into things, I'm trying to take out his elephant as well. It's still still got 2/3 of its health. So I'm going to rebuild that barracks. I should have plenty of soldiers. I mean, I've just got basically set up on an auto produce. You can see it's like produce some pikemen, produce some skirmishers, produce whatever, and it means he's slightly ahead in population, but I am repopulating really, really quickly. Oh, I've gone into here to try and claim these bits of stone, or they're all just metal actually. And so it's a case of, can I take these ones out? What you'll notice actually, if we look at the map as a whole, if he just bypassed this lot, he doesn't, he goes towards it. If he just carried on here, gee, it doesn't bear thinking about. He would just cut straight through my army. These guys are fighting on, but I think that's a bit of a mismatch. We just need to make sure that I take out the elephant before it does any more damage. We've got another fight going on here. This time I think I will come out on top. I seem to have the advantage in numbers, particularly these guys as a meat shield will make a massive difference. We're going to just, slice through those like butter and be able to kill the hero. He's already killed my hero, so, you know, it's justice, isn't it? Yeah, he's going. He's the only one left. He's on his own and he's going to die. And out here, we see them making another thing. This could be an interesting fight. He's... Oh, I don't know, actually. He's seen a lot of his skirmishers die early on, and now I'm producing champions. So those champions, coupled with the fact that because skirmishers are slightly quicker than the pikemen, it meant that his skirmishers were out ahead of the pikemen, so got massacred by my pikemen and skirmishers, rather than what's happening in the reverse is that I've got the pikemen out front defending. We've got some more stuff going on here. It's pretty exciting. We can see that both of us have got absolutely... I mean, this is firing, but not hitting a lot. This has been emptied out, unfortunately. And this one I forgot to get the upgrade for, so that's now gone. And the tower probably will follow pretty quickly. Even though it's got 5 swordsmen in, I'm still focusing down here and have forgotten that, so I could just get those out. Oh, and actually, ironically, it's them destroying it pretty much that is going to cause this. Can I take out one of these? He's coming in to try and get that. This one's going to be interesting. I need to pull these guys off here as quickly as possible. They are. There we go. So now we're going to start firing arrows at a pretty phenomenal rate. As long as I can kill this elephant, which I'm struggling with, but If I can get some skirmishers there, they will be able to do that. It's enough. The only people I need to worry about are the skirmishers. Oh, and sorry, is the elephant, and we've got plenty of soldiers dealing with that. So the kill-death ratio has just changed. Look at that for a change. You can see I'm producing individual groups of heavy infantry, the swordsmen, which will protect me against any rams. Particularly because of this, like he could be sent if he just sent a ram through here with, oh my god, with that group of soldiers, they're doing nothing. That would probably be enough to take out my civic centre, you know. But it's amazing how kind of myopic you can get when you look back at the game. Like I didn't even consider that he might do that. I mean, look, these guys are collecting the metal over here, but there's only 24 of them, and they're quite a long way, and there's no swordsman. I would normally try and put like a load of the, not necessarily the heavy swordsmen, but the swordsman mercenaries that you get from the military colony. Normally put some of those in the civic centre just in case rams come through. If it's elephants, then you can normally get skirmishers back in time. The problem is that, well, that skirmishers walk a lot more quickly, or run as it is a lot more quickly than the others, so they're in a stronger position to do that. I mean, one of the things, we've just got groups of people that are kind of hanging around doing nothing. They should be doing stuff. I mean, if we just have a look actually at this, see at any one point I have got 76 people idle, and he has 54. I mean, yeah, admittedly that includes this 65 people, so that's why that looks much worse than it probably is, but it still says a lot. And okay, it's only got 118 stone left. I just want to stop him building this fortress, and I should have plenty of people to do that. But what I don't have is these guys are building another military colony, so I can access this stone. I don't really know why I'm particularly worried about that stone. I don't have any. And the fact is that I know that there's stone up here, so I could have gone, and that would not only, having built here, it would not only give me control of some great resources, but would also have given me a way in to absolutely destroy this thing. I mean, that's something that I think both players here really could learn from, is that the way that we've set up our army, I mean, me particularly, having all of my army essentially here in this corner of the map. I know it's a circle, don't tell me there's no corners, that's just truism. But in this metaphorical corner of the map, compared to him, it's crazy, because he could just literally take stuff and go right through the middle from one side to the other, and luckily they would actually attract the attention of these guys, so they probably would be able to stop it. But sorry, but it still seems like crazy to me. Looking back, this hasn't been replenished. These guys are building that. I want to build another fortress here, so he's trying to build up his army. But again, it's not a huge, this many soldiers and 2 elephants is not massive at this point. And I think I'm wondering if he could have tried maybe to get catapults or something to mix this up, because the elephants are not going to be in the strongest position. I mean, I've put these guys, trying to put them inside the fortress, but I mean, it's very silly. 2 of them are virtually dead. I could have put those to heal in there. So the 2 of them die. They all die quite quickly, because I'm mostly focused on bringing the elephants down, which I've now managed to do. And now that the elephant's gone, the next step should be everyone here go into the fortress. Just go straight in, and then start firing your arrows from the safety of the fortress. Why are they not? Okay, and I've put these other guys straight in there, and you can see, look how many arrows start coming out at these guys. Absolutely killer. Completely killer. There's very little he can do. I've built a catapult. The catapult goes in there. So I've got a catapult and a ram. These guys being here are going to be, most of them are going to be in the range of these are going to start dying very shortly. You can't leave your soldiers waving at a fortress. It's madness. And it's they're also never going to be able to take it over. And I'll just put a tower here just in case. You can see these
Yeah,
guys,
see?
as they run away, it's going to take out a load of them. Let's see how
Yeah,
they...
see?
So of the 22, it's down to 21. Okay, I expected that number to go down a bit more dramatically than just by one. I have to say, disappointed with that outcome. I was going to be all
Yeah, see?
triumphant, like, oh, they started out with
Yeah, see?
22, but by the time they got out of the fortress radius, there were 3 left. No, there were 21. But they are virtually dead, and they
Yeah,
are still
see?
being shot here. So
Yeah,
what are we
see?
at now? Somehow, oh yeah, because I was going to say somehow they're
Yeah,
23.
see?
They're all very heavily armored in fairness, apart from this one, and he's not going to take this again, is he?
Yeah, see?
Yep, they're going to wave at that. Am I going to be able to kill any of them?
Yeah, see?
Surely. 21. Some of them, they're doing a lot of waving, but I'm unfortunately waving at the ones which are most uh, or least heavily armored. Sorry, have the most health left. They're 14. Come on. They should. 13. This should be a massacre as they pull back, and his infantry is starting to. His army's actually starting to collapse at this point. I need to get my catapult and my ram out. I need to really push on over
Yeah,
here.
see?
He's got a load of catapults actually. It's interesting that he's had a load of catapults. He's managed to knock out my um uh what do you call it? The thing that was here. What's it called? My temple. But these guys are now coming to their dooms. I'm knocking this out. The catapult should do something similar. Maybe we can capture it. I've got some pretty cool. I've got champions troops in there. Can they? I don't think they're going to do it before he. Yeah, I've given up on that. And so on we plough. These guys are trying to build against this. What are they?
Yeah, see?
They could. They need to take out those things. Just give up. But I think again got kind of focused on what's happening here.
Yeah, see?
These guys are. I've put down the
Yeah,
base
see?
of a temple, but who cares about building it? Why not just leave the guys stood
Yeah,
next to it?
see?
So yeah, sometimes some of the mistakes you look back are just insane, and I think that's pretty one of the biggest differences that you see in a match like this and one that is like at the very, not even at the very top of the game, even probably at like 1600. There's just none of these kind of little rookie errors. It's like they are smart enough to focus on this little number down here. Do you have any idle workers? And just yes or no. As soon as they see yes, they go and deal with it. Whereas, yeah, we just don't do that. Trying to build another thing. So
Yeah, see?
this is pretty silly. They're going to get killed, but doesn't matter. I won just about. So let's have a look at the summary. So I was over 3,000 points ahead, but most of it was economy. 2,000 ahead on economy, 750 or 800 on no 700. I don't. I'm now. Yeah, I give up. About 700 there, almost on the dot, and then a couple of and 200 there. It's weird how close they are to being complete hundreds actually. Then if we look here, we'll see constructed, destroyed, captured, lost. I bet I lost a hell of a lot more buildings than he did. Actually, not so many more. That's interesting. I lost 6, although he only destroyed 3. So what happened to the other 3? Oh, he captured them. Okay, fair enough. And maybe when they were destroyed, that maybe was no, I was going to say that was him destroying them. It could actually be 3 and 3. Oh my God, I bet I didn't destroy one of his buildings. Nonetheless, on we go in terms of units. I produced loads more workers. Neither of us produced cavalry at all. I produced more champions. Both produced one hero, the same hero. I produced, uh, yeah, slightly more siege. In terms of resources, you can see I gathered loads more. Food, 10,000 more. Wood, he actually gathered more wood in the end, probably because I was so slack actually with getting those upgrades for the wood. I collected twice as much stone, way more metal, did a lot more trading. Uh, yeah, I think if that's the case. I ended up with a better kill death ratio than him, unbelievably, because at some points I was so far behind. That is insane to think about. And as we can see, on economy, I was pretty much always ahead, certainly after the 10-minute mark. But if we look at military, I'm going to guess he was ahead for, yeah, he was ahead for a lot of the game. But then I was, then he was again, and then just shot off at the very end. And exploration, what does it matter? Yeah, I saw more of the map, almost all of it. He saw a bit less. Who cares? Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. We had a wonderful time. It's great to be back. It's been like 12 months almost to the day, I realized when I was talking about this with my wife earlier. So I'll just say what I always say at this point, obrigado e adeus. In fact, I'm not going to say that because I've now kind of realized that I want to say obrigado e até logo. So, ciao.